We've got Jacob in Chickasha,
Oklahoma.
Hello. Am I good?
You're on.
Okay, cool. Well, I've kind of grown up in Christian society my entire life. I went to school at a private school in Norman, and now I'm in college, obviously, and I've kind of discovered this whole secular life, right?
Right.
And beforehand, I've been engrossed in this Christian culture, and I've had to kind of learn how to deal with other people differing from my opinion. And it's been a really complex friendship.
Well,
so I've approached this a many number of ways. Argumentation never really worked for me.
So I'm confused. Which side of the
that's what I was wondering. Like
friendship are you on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the atheist side.
Oh, okay.
And you're having trouble relating to Christian friends.
I heard you guys' thing about skepticon and confrontation versus
accommodation.
Accommodation. And I'm kind of in between on this because I haven't really been exposed to a situation where argumentation really works.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's okay. Here's the best thing I can tell you, and that is when I have conversations with people on the phone here, it's one sort of environment, and it's generally dictated by the tone they take or how willing they are to have an honest discussion. If you watch, like on Tuesday, I did a formal debate at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Thanks, guys. That was awesome. And that was a different forum. And so there was a different style there. There was no reason, and it wouldn't have been productive to get anybody's face. I also have friends and family members who are theists of one stripe or another, or who disagree on something at some point. And there's a different style for that. I mean, the situation dictates what is or isn't appropriate. Now, my family, for the most part, we just don't talk about it anymore. And it's primarily because they're uncomfortable and ill-equipped to deal with the responses that I give. And so we just tend to avoid the religion subject pretty much as possible. I don't have a lot of close Christian friends outside of my family. There are a handful of acquaintances and there's a couple of close friends, but they're kind of liberal, moderate, nondescript. The subject of religion doesn't really affect anything about their life or our interaction. So how to do it, I mean, I find it very difficult to believe that I could be a really close friend with somebody who's a fundamentalist. And there's just such a strict, what do we have in common?
Yeah.
And if you can find what you have in common, that's, of course, what I'd say build on.
Yeah, and it comes down to also a matter of if the problem that you are experiencing is that you're finding it difficult now to just converse with maybe friends you've had for a long time who are still Christian and you're no longer Christian, or maybe you're meeting new people in your college environment who are Christian and you're just trying to figure out how to communicate, and treat it like any sort of ordinary conversation. Start by asking one another questions. Just leave it as a very open and unthreatening exchange, whereas argumentation, you're immediately jumping into some sort of that may not necessarily be the sort of thing that most people would want to find themselves confronted with if you're like, whoa, hey, I'm just talking, right?
Yeah, so, you're totally right.
Yeah, so somebody, so if you have a Christian that you know at school or somebody that you've known from your past and, and they're like, well, why don't you believe in God? And then you can answer, and then you can ask them, well, what is it that you believe that you find, and why do you believe those things? That's always, I think, a very good one.
I think that's a bit too direct, personally. Yeah. I think that this needs to be a little bit more cloak and dagger. You need to be exposed within in their daily life, and you kind of need to modernize them.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's like it doesn't really have to. I mean, if it has to come up, if this is just a subject that they really want to discuss with you, then it's, as Matt said, your situation is going to determine how that conversation flows. I don't think that you should maybe go into these conversations thinking that, oh, I have to structure this somehow differently than if we were going to discuss, what was on, television last night, or what happened in the news this morning, or what have you, if you want to make it a general topic of conversation. And that, I think, in a lot of ways, can create a very comfortable, neutral environment where religion just becomes another aspect of your life experience that you can talk about, in addition with other things. And
I try to treat it like a music discussion or maybe an art kind of thing.
Well, I'd be careful about turning it into something that's just a personal preference, like whether you like blue versus purple, because that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
In fact, we're
those
talking
aren't
about
truth claim issues.
the nature
but
of
in order
reality.
to make it non-confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go out of my. I just pretty much approach things fairly honestly. I have some friends who are Christians, and we're friends. We don't actually spend much time talking about it. On the rare occasions when it comes up, I'm honest, and my friends generally appreciate the fact that I'm honest. They wouldn't be my friends. I mean, I tend to surround myself with people who can at least appreciate the fact that I'm not going to, pretend and nod my head along when I hear something that I think is BS. So, on the other hand, not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you're uncomfortable, again, about being the one to maybe cause offense or something, then just let them take the lead in the whole thing, right? Let them ask whatever they want to ask of you.
Yeah, respond with questions, and the kind of Socratic method is going to end up being more productive than many others in a lot of cases. So
yeah, and as long as the outcome of the whole thing is that they end up with the idea that regardless of your differences in belief, you're still Jacob, right? Then it's all good. And that's probably the easiest way to sort of defuse any way in which they may feel threatened. Or uncomfortable with just the topic, or uncomfortable with you because suddenly they realize, oh, he's not a believer anymore, and that makes him different somehow.
And
it doesn't really make you
change
different.
of perspective.
Yeah.
It can totally change the nature of the relationship.
Yeah.
And on that note, Jacob, there's actually another caller who may have another take on this. So unless you had a follow-up, I'll go ahead and jump over there and we'll find out what they had to say about this.
My last word is, wow, this is really quick how the dialogue is. I really wasn't prepared for that, but thank you for taking my call.
Well, I'll slow down a little bit, but you're very welcome. And part of it's because we're rushed because of the new format. So, but thanks a lot for calling.
Take care.
Bye.